Hello friends, we're here with something a little bit different today. We're going to play some Slay the Spire. I just finished recording the budget deck video, which should have been up today. And I was looking for some new decks to play. I usually like to keep the momentum going, but nothing inspiring was out there. Seems like everyone is taking a bit of a break from deck building until the nerfs are implemented. So instead we're going to relax and play some Slay the Spire. If you've never played the game before, that's okay, because we're going to try and explain as much as we can. This is a fantastic game. It's super cheap as well. You can pick it up on Steam. I believe it's on GOG as well. It's a deck building game, so if you've played any physical deck building games, you'll know what that's like. And if you've played any digital ones or any digital versions of physical deck builders, Ascension is one of my favorite games, then I think you'll really like this. And it's got a bit more of a video gamey twist on it as well. But most of you should know this. This game has been out there for a while, particularly if you're a Hearthstone player. A lot of the Hearthstone people have been quite into Slay the Spire for a bit. So we're going to play a game. We're going to be playing as the Ironclad. The Ironclad, as you can see here, got some stats. We start with 80 health, 99 gold, and we start with this relic, which lets us heal for 6 after each combat. I don't have anything unlocked. I think this recently got patched, so all the unlocks went away. And I was playing some of the new character on beta. Anyway, so we'll play the Ironclad. It's the first character that you have in the game. And this is the very start, so a lot of the time we're presented with these kinds of choices, and the choices will impact your run. The whole aim of the game is to progress through the game's 3 acts. This is the first act. That's our deck. So we're going to progress through these 3 acts and try and beat the 3 bosses. And there's also kind of like a high score and speedrun element to it as well, which I think is really cool. We start with a basic deck of 10 cards. This is the Ironclad's deck. It contains 5 strikes, 4 defense, and a bash. And this is where all our relics are going to go. So we have the choices here. We can remove a card from our deck, which is very good because we want to make sure that we're drawing only the best cards. We can obtain a random common relic. So this is a relic. So a common relic, usually pretty minor benefit, but not all of them have kind of negative things attached to them. We can lose 50% of our current HP, which is 40, which is a lot. To transform 2 cards, transforming a card will change it to another random card of this of the card's type. So an attack becomes an attack, skill becomes a skill, power becomes a power, and a curse becomes a curse. But that can be good because these are all basic cards, and there are a lot of better ones. We can lose our starting relic to obtain a random boss relic, and boss relics are really good. As the name implies, you only get them from killing a boss. But our starting relic's really, really good, so I think we'll just remove a card from our deck and remove this bash. This bash is a bit of a clunky card. So this is the main part of the game. We're trying to progress up this tower, this spire, to face the boss. And on the way there are a bunch of different squares. You can see the legend here tells you exactly what they are. We've got question marks, which are unknown, so these could be any of these things, or it could be some random event like the one that we just saw. There's question marks. The other most common type is enemies, which is definitely a fight. The fights get harder as you go along. There's treasure rooms, which you will essentially always go pick up. You can't avoid them. So they'll reward you with a relic. We have rest stops, which allow us to heal health or to upgrade a card in our deck. And we have elites. Elites are tougher enemies, but they reward you with relics when you defeat them. So my general strategy is just to make sure that we go through the most rest stops as possible. And the second part of that is maybe choosing a path where if we do get ahead, like if we're feeling confident, we can try and battle some elites, because killing a lot of elites is really good. And already this left path is kind of screaming at me is pretty good. So we can hit one of these, probably this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can get 4 fires, and this is even good because if we kill this pretty good, we could even, like if we're on high health, we can go kill this. So let's jump in. I'm gonna go up this way because question marks, at worst, they're fights. So this is what combat looks like. So every turn we're gonna draw 5 cards. We have 3 energy over here, and we have 2 enemies. We gotta try and kill them. Pretty straightforward. These enemies are, I keep calling them Louises, but they are Louse. But they have an ability called Curl Up, as you can see there. When it takes attack damage, it rolls up against 4 block, and it only does that once. And we can see what the enemies are going to do. So they're going to attack us for 12 this turn. So we probably want to gain some block to prevent that damage. And we will hit one of them. It'll curl up. And at the end of the turn, we'll lose that block. So we did take 2. However, we have our Burning Blood that's going to heal us for 6 at the end of combat. So we're allowed to take a little bit of damage. Now we can kill this Louise. Deal some damage here. Gain some block. And now that it doesn't have the ability anymore. So this symbol here means it's going to debuff us. Every enemy has a bunch of different... there are a bunch of different enemies that have a bunch of different debuffs. This one, I believe, reduces your attack damage. Great. And this is on the latest patch, so there's a bunch of new potions as well. So these potions, they used to just be pretty simple. There was only, I think, 6 or 7 of them. But now there's a bunch of different ones. This adds a random skill card to our hand that costs 0. And then that will be in our deck for that combat, but it goes away at the end of the thing. Alright. This is where the deck building aspect comes in. So we can choose one of these 3 cards to add to our deck, or none of them. And they're pretty interesting. Corruption is kind of... like this character, the Ironclad, has... some kind of defined archetypes, and one of them is this exhaust mechanic, which basically removes cards from your deck within that combat, not for the game, but it lets you destroy your own cards for some benefit. So the benefit of this is that your skills cost 0. So all these defends cost 0, but once we play them, they're gone. Shrug It Off is a great card. I think I'm going to go for that. This True Grit's pretty similar. We can gain us some block, exhaust a card, but I'm going to Shrug It Off. Just a nice, straightforward card and a nice upgrade over our defense. The Wing Statue. Among the stone and boulders, you notice an intricate large blue statue resembling a wing. Kind of looks like a wing. You find gold spilling from its cracks. Maybe there's just more inside. So we can pray to the wing to remove a card, and I will lose 7 HP. And this option we can't do because we don't. It requires us to have some kind of item. Remove a strike from our deck. I generally like to stay more defensive than aggressive. So this is a different type of enemy. Slimes. Slimes are a bit of a theme of this first act. So you see this enemy is applying debuffs to us. So Frail, we gain 25% less block. You can actually apply multiple stacks of that to make it last longer. Now they're going to attack and apply a debuff. But we can just kill them. Alright. So you'll see the border around these cards. This one here is a rare card, so generally rares are a bit more powerful. But this card is... It's card's good if you have a lot of the exhaust things, because this card deals a lot of damage and it hits all enemies. So it's particularly good for the first 2 floors, for 2 acts rather. But it adds a burn to your discard pile, and a burn is an unplayable card that, as you can see there, unplayable card that deals damage to you. And this boss here is doesn't summon any minions or anything, so I think we'll be conservative and we'll skip that. Alright, now we have the option to hit up a shop. We'll continue on our path. I generally don't like hitting up shops unless I have 200 gold, but it is a free square in that we're definitely not going to get a combat. Let's go. Yeah, so this is the shop. The reason I said we generally I don't like hitting them up unless we have 200 gold is because they actually sell relics. And they're all really, this one particularly is quite good. They also sell some neutral cards. We've got all our cards here, so unfortunately this flame barrier's alright. But I think we'll just remove another card. And we'll get rid of one of these defense. Once again, just trying to stay kind of lean and consistent. Alright, another new type of enemy. This one is the cultist. So the first turn they apply a buff to themselves. The ritual, which says at the end of its turn it gains 3 strength, so it's going to deal 3 more damage. And that just keeps going up and up and up and up. So these ones you really want to burst them down as quick as possible. Take the damage now because you won't be able to take the damage later. And we got that. Alright. This card's pretty interesting, Perfected Strike. So this is a bit better if you lean more towards having more cards in your deck rather than less cards. We're kind of going for the less cards thing. But it gets extra damage for each card in your deck that contains Strike, which is these cards. This card itself also contains the word Strike. And there's a couple more that it's kind of like its own little archetype thing. Alright, so we're at a rest site. So we can either rest to gain 5 health, which is definitely not worth it, or we can actually upgrade one of our cards. So upgrading it is exactly that, just makes it better. Every card can only be upgraded once, except for one card, which specifically can be upgraded as many times as you can. So we'll just upgrade this Shrug It Off, because it's a card that we're not going to remove from our deck. We face this Elite. So this is Lagavulin. We can die to this boss quite easily. So he basically sleeps for the first couple of turns. And then he's going to wake up. And he's going to go through this cycle where he will hit us for 18. I think 2 or 3 times. Then applies a debuff to us, which reduces our strength and our dexterity by 1. So we do 1 less damage and we gain 1 less block. And he'll just go through that cycle. So it's very deadly because the longer the combat goes on, the harder it is to deal damage. So they're going to apply this debuff now. So -1 dexterity, -1 strength. So now our strikes are only dealing 5. This is only gaining us 10. So luckily, rage isn't affected by that. Oh, I probably should show it. So rage is a skill. It got added to our deck with the potion. It says whenever you play an attack this turn, gain 3 block. Usually not a card that I like to play, but it's actually proving to be pretty useful in this in this combat. Now they're going to apply the debuff again, so this is really quite draining. You know, these strikes are only hitting for 4 and they're on 27, so I think we're just going to take the 18 this turn in order to get as much damage as possible in. Because the next debuff would probably kill us. But we got there. So we get some rewards. This is a relic. It gives us 300 gold. So now next time we hit up the shop, we can get some good stuff. Unfortunately, the selection of cards here is pretty bad. Body Slam is excellent card in a deck that is just supremely defensive, just all about gaining a bunch of block. Ironclad has cards that allow its block to last through successive turns. Sword Boomerang's pretty good if you get a bunch of strength, because it deals damage multiple times, so each hit gets a buff off the strength. Alright, so we'll rest at this one. We don't have any cards worth upgrading anyway, and we're about to hit a boss. We now dig first. So now at rest sites we can get relics, which is actually pretty useful right now, because we don't really want to upgrade our terrible cards. Alright, so this fight's going to be pretty tough for us. Each of these enemies, when they do a debuff, it shuffles 2 of these daze cards into our deck. And daze cards are, as you see, unplayable, but they go away at the end of the turn if they're in our hand. But what this means is, you know, if they shuffle more of these into our deck, we have the potential to draw a hand where, you know, with 5 dazes and we kind of get crushed. There you go, they go away. Shrug it off is a good one. Yep. This is a good sequence because we can kill this on the turn where they're going to attack. Which always feels quite good to mitigate damage through murder. Classic murder. This fight gets significantly easier once it's down to just the 2 of them. Just the 2 of us. Can we draw 3 strikes? We can. Oof. That's exactly what we were talking about. So the longer that more of them are up, the worse it is for us. And now that it's just one of them, it's pretty straightforward. We just want to take as little damage as possible, so we don't have to rest. We definitely want to draw a card to get some more of those dazes. It's a bit of a long fight, but alright, we got the Dreamcatcher. Whenever you rest, you can add a card to our deck. This could be okay. Ooh, once again, real kind of stinkers of cards. We really want to... maybe we should pick up this clothesline. No. Alright. Bunch of gremlins. So gremlins are low health, but they all do kind of wacky things. So there's the fat gremlin that debuffs you. There's the sneaky gremlin, which just deals high damage, but has low health. There's the mad gremlin, which whenever it takes damage, it gains strength. And there's the shield gremlin, which blocks, and I think it blocks for everyone. But we kind of want to take out this sneaky gremlin first. I don't think that sound effect, the voice acting was in their last patch. Just deal some damage to this shield gremlin. Now we can kill it. Gain some block. And now we want to try and burst this guy down in as few turns as possible. There we go. And now we get the explosive potion. So this deals potion that deals 10 damage to everything. Huh. Can take a flex actually. Yeah. Alright, now's the key decision of do we push our luck and try and battle another boss, or do we play it safe and just take the rest? We can get an upgrade on our flex. We could even just dig for a relic. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Just dig. Thread and needle. This is a really good relic. So at the start of each combat we get 5 plated armor. What plated armor is it's going to give us this much block, so 5. However, every time we do that every turn. However, every time you take damage, the amount is reduced by 1. So it's like you want to keep staying ahead of the damage output. So this is a slightly bigger slime than the last one. This one will actually split into 2 when it reaches 50% HP. So unfortunately, if we play this strike, it ticks over. And we have 2 strikes here. So there's a bit of a game of like trying to get it as much to 50% as you can, and then doing as much damage, because when it splits, they retain the health. So for instance, if this one splits, both of them are going to have 24 health. Question is, do we throw the potion now? Yeah, especially if they're just going to keep debuffing us, we're fine to just keep battling. Sweet. So, just managing to mitigate as much damage as we can by killing things before they can deal damage to us. Alright. Rupture's pretty interesting. We don't have anything to go with it though, so. Ooh. Okay, so this is an interesting event. You enter a corridor full of hypnotizing colored mushrooms. I love the way that the text bounces. Due to your lack of specialization in mycology, you are unable to identify the specimens. Makes sense. You want to escape but feel oddly compelled to eat a mushroom. So, we can gobble a mushroom. We'll heal 20, but we gain a curse. Curses are negative cards in our deck. They often can't be played, and some of them even do bad things whenever you draw them. Or we can anger the mushrooms, and this gets us into a fight, but the fight gives us a relic. Also, for some, there's no option to just not do anything. So each one of these ones, when they die, they make you vulnerable, so you take 50% more damage. We don't want that. We might even try and set up to explosive potion all of these in one turn. So we are going to take 9 for the pleasure of doing this, but I think we'll be pretty... Oh, sorry, we only take 4. But I think it does set us up to finish things off quite quickly. So we always get this relic. So it's good against debuffs. So when we're vulnerable, we take 25% more damage rather than 50%. Okay, some good options here. Headbutt and Iron Wave. So Headbutt deals 9 damage, then we can place a card from our discard pile on top of our draw pile. So can start, recycling our better cards. Or Iron Wave is a fantastic... it's essentially a card you always play because it both deals damage and gains blocks. So I'm going to go with Iron Wave. So this boss isn't too threatening. You can tell which boss it is based off of the image. There's, I think, 3 different ones for each floor. So we could upgrade our Iron Wave, or our Flex for that matter. Or we could dig for another relic. There's a lot of stinkers as far as the relics go. Or we could just heal. And healing also could lets us add a card to our deck because of the Dream Catcher. So one of the really cool things of this game is like everything starts kind of truncating and expanding out. I think we'll dig for a relic. Oh wow, this is a really good one. Oddly Smooth Stone it starts each combat with 1 dexterity, so all of our block cards are going to gain us an extra block. It's really, really good. So this boss has two forms. So it is mode shift. So he basically has this aggressive form and then a defensive form. So after he takes 30 damage, he's going to change into a defensive form. So we're just going to bop him. He's going to do something defensive, so he's going to gain a bunch of block. He's going to hit us for a lot of damage. So these are each dealing 6. The main thing is, if just like a lot of those slimes, if we push him into the defensive mode, it cancels the attack. So if we can deal 16 damage here, we can apply vulnerable, so each of these will do a 9, so that's 18. So yeah, let's do that. And we'll just pass this turn because we want this Shrug It Off to be in our discard pile, so that when we draw, we can draw it. So now that it's in the defensive form, it's dealing less damage, but it has this sharp hides that buff at the bottom. So whenever we play an attack, we're going to take 3 damage. So it has thorns. But we can afford to play 2 attacks this turn, or 1 attack, because we'll have 17 total block. Yeah, so we can play 2 attacks this turn. Gain the 5 from the plated armor. This Thread and Needle is doing a lot of work. This is the harder turn, so it always does this like defensive, 1 attack, double attack, and it'll transform back. So this still profits us on block. Unfortunately, we are going to take some damage, so we are going to lose 1 stack of our plated armor. So maybe we want to play another attack whilst they're vulnerable, just to get some more damage down. We just don't want to lose 2 stacks of the plated armor. Play the attack. Take 3, go to 6, gain 5 up to 11. Yeah, so we can do that. Okay. It's hitting us for 20. We currently have 16 blocks, so we want to block once and attack once. Now they're going into defensive form, so we can just... Oh, they're not going into defensive form, they're just gaining block. So they're going to block and do that one big attack. This turn, unfortunately, we can't push them over. So... we'll just be as defensive as we can be. I'm sure if we had thought about that turn a bit more, we could have maximized our damage. So we're doing well. Halfway there, we still have 3 stacks of our plated armor, and we're going to keep it through this phase. So the good thing is this boss doesn't exactly enrage. It just stays in the aggressive form longer as the fight goes on. And I guess the aggressive form is the dangerous form. We're going to lose another stack of our plated armor here. Then we put them into defensive mode. Iron Wave is extremely useful against enemies with thorns in general, but particularly this enemy. So we have the interesting option of just dealing 24 damage here, and we're going to take 9 plus 16, 20. 25 minus 2 is 23. But after every boss we heal up to full. We're not playing on any ascension mode or anything, so we will heal to full. At the end of each boss, so we don't have to worry about going into the next fight on 27 health. Alright, so bosses generally always award us with some a rare card as well. Feed is pretty interesting. Dark Embrace is really key to the exhaust archetype, but right now it does nothing for us. Limit Break is interesting if you have any strength buffs, which we currently don't. Feed is good. But it's so it's an attack that deals damage, and if we kill an enemy, we gain permanent health. But you only get to play it once, per combat because it exhausts itself. It's really good if you get it early. Imagine if we had picked it up, here or something, how many times we would have gained permanent HP. Unfortunately, its value is reduced because going into the next couple of floors, it's going to be a lot. Things have more health, so it's a lot harder to kind of sandbag it. Let's go with it though. Let's go with that. And now we get a boss relic as well, so these are the really interesting ones. So we can White Beast statue. Potions always drop after combat, so we can... And the potions are pretty good now. We have the Runic Pyramid. At the end of our turn, we no longer discard our hand. We draw one less card each turn. So we're going to draw 4 each turn, but we don't discard cards at the end of the turn. So all those turns where, you know, we draw like 2 strikes, 2 defense, and a shrug it off, and we only play 3, we'll retain 2 cards. So it gives us more options, a bit more flexibility. Or there's the Velvet Choker. Velvet Choker is pretty interesting. You get an extra energy. Extra energy is a key part of the game. Get Feeder, I leave. Thanks, Coal Warrior. Definitely, I'll obey your command, and we'll get feed. Let's munch. And we've got Velvet Choker here. So the disadvantage of the Choker is we can't play more than 6 cards per turn. So going forward, we just need to design our deck with less flexes and, you know, less cards that cycle. So let's go Choker. And let's munch. Let's munch indeed. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Alright. So it's up this side. Want to get to here. Which we can get to through here. So this is 1, 2. This is 1. Yep. Alright. So this is a pretty interesting enemy, the Chosen. We'll try and eat this guy. So the Chosen gives us this Hex debuff. Whenever we play a non-attack card, we get a Daze into our discard pile. So we kind of don't want to, especially now, because these don't really, like, we're not going to take damage anyway. So we just got to be disciplined. They also apply Vulnerable and Frail. And then do a big attack. Do we take 26? We are drawing our feed next turn. Unfortunately, this Hex never goes away. We just have to do it. So yeah, we didn't need to play that. Shrug it off that time. Are you talking to a friend on Discord? No, I'm not talking to anyone, Coal Warrior. But we do have someone watching who hasn't played the game before. So just trying to explain things, make it a bit easier for them. Alright. So we've got the option to take some upgraded cards here. This upgraded Clothesline, which applies weak for 3 turns. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really feeling any of these. Clothesline is probably the closest one, because we don't have any source of weak. Yeah, I'll take that. So this enemy has a bunch of shields, keeps getting shields, and has artifacts, which is that bottom buff there. Some artifacts and negate debuffs. So when we played that Clothesline, it usually applies weak, and it just negated it. Also, it has its block doesn't go away at the end of the turn. This frail is a bit of a beating. 14, 20. All right, so we can feast. Ow. Chomping on them. Hope y'all like vor. Sweet. So another one of these benefits or events, I guess. In front of you sits an altar of a forgotten god. Atop the altar sits an ornate female statue with arms outstretched. She calls out to you, demanding a sacrifice. So we can just become decayed, which is bad. So we'll gain some max health. Goes with our feed aesthetic. Get a shop. We can finally spend some of this 600 gold. I do like toolbox. We get a random colorless card. So that's these neutral cards. They are generally very cheap to play. You're not going to get many big clunky ones. And we want to remove a card as well. The question is, do we want this letter opener? Probably 3 skills though. Yeah, I mean, do have the potential to play 3 skills. Toolbox will remove a strike. And I think we'll just play it a bit passively. Alright, so we've got a new enemy, the beard. So this one attacks a bunch of times, and it has a buff where it can gain some strength, which is very good when it's attacking multiple times. But it also takes 50% less damage, but when it gets attacked 3 times, loses that buff and gets like stunned for the turn. So we can actually hit it with 3 attacks this turn as well. Unfortunately, it will remove our feed, but that's okay. And now it no longer has the flight buff, so it takes 100% damage. Sweet. So this fight's working out pretty well. Fortunately, this clothesline's been really useful. So applying weak to an enemy makes it deal 25% less damage. So usually clothesline, when you only have 3 energy, is not the greatest, as it generally means that you're going to take damage because you don't have a lot of like flexibility to play 2 blocks and an attack. I really would have liked to get an uppercut rather than a clothesline. Uppercut applies weak and vulnerable. Alright. I think this is the first power we've actually seen in this run. So powers are you would have seen I actually played one in that fight. It was a colorless card we got off of our toolbox, but these are cards you play and they just give you a buff, and they're gone forever. So they're really good if you're trying to keep your deck small. Fire breathing's Usually I wouldn't take it, but I think for us it's actually going to be quite good because we don't have any way to deal area damage. So let's go with it. Okay, what have we got coming up? We're going to avoid that boss. Then we have another one up here. So we can probably afford to just have a dig. Peace pipe. Okay, so now we have so many options when we're resting. Flash of Steel is a good one. It's the neutral card we got off of our toolbox. Taking a lot of damage here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we just wanted to make sure we didn't get choked out by our choker. So this is a pretty tough combo, tough set of enemies. They're just very symbiotic. This one heals and buffs. This one attacks and defends for both. This one also debuffs. Just a knight. Very typical like role-playing pair. Unfortunately, feed is not doing too great for us. Oh, I missed that we already lost a stack of plated armor. We should have played the other block that time. $16 and this is 17. I guess we clothesline this, then we don't take damage. So now they've both got weak on them, so putting out significantly less damage. I think the fire breathing kills them. Yeah, because we played 3 attacks. Sweet. This one's going pretty well. So, some more options here. Pommel Strike's... oh, you draw 2 cards off upgraded Pommel Strike. It's pretty good. I don't know how many extra attacks we need. Let's go. Alright, so we can rest to gain health and add a card. We can smith to upgrade a card, which we would probably upgrade our fire breathing or our feed. We can smoke, have a toke to remove a card from our deck, or we can dig for another relic. I think I'm going to dig. On Omamori, nice. So this negates the next 2 curses we get. So, oh, I haven't had this one before. The boot. Whenever you would deal 4 or less unblocked attack damage, increase it to 5. Cool. So must be a new relic. All right, so we're about to fight a boss. So I think we're gonna rest up here. An option. So this sword boomerang is kind of interesting with our new relic. Combust is a good, maybe not good. It's an interesting power. It's also upgraded as well. I think we might take it. So it costs us health, but it deals damage every turn. So hopefully we can pair it with our plated armor to not take too much damage. So this boss is pretty tough actually. So it's a giant hand with a knife. So it has this painful stabs buff. Whenever it deals damage to us, it adds a wound to our discard pile. Wounds are like those dazed cards before. They're unplayable. They're, do nothing cards, except they don't go away. So we really want to be careful with this one. In fact, we might even pop this plated armor potion if things get tight. Our clothesline's gonna be super relevant here. Wow, we actually drew no defensive cards there. 4 times 3, 12. So if we drink this potion, then we'll only take 1 hit. So we'll only get 1 wound and lose 1 stack. So this is 8 and 16, so we need to play 1. And I think we just feed now to get it out of our deck. Because we want to prioritize being defensive over aggressive, I think. Plenty. Still like 20, yep. So that that potion that gave us some more plated armor is yeah, maybe we shouldn't have played the feed. Alright. Got a relic, the shuriken. Every time we play 3 attacks in a single turn we gain 1 strength. So it's very good. Kind of a nombo with our Velvet Choker, because we generally, if we're playing, we want to play a lot of attacks to get more shuriken buffs. This is actually a pretty good win condition, the Rampage. We can focus on cutting down our deck size to make sure we draw Rampage more consistently. I definitely want to go here. Blind. So Rampage deals more damage the more you play it. So having a smaller deck, obviously you're going to cycle into it more often. Actually, it goes pretty well with Pommel Strike as well. Okay, so they didn't apply the Hex debuff. Applied a different one. Oh, so close. Come on. Give me the feed. Now we are hexed. Unfortunate. But we'll hopefully get to feed on this guy. Soon we will feed. Or not. Alright, so we're in good health. We do have a bunch of gold though, so we can either go for another relic or we can go for a shop. Kinda wanna go for the relic. Sweet, got lucky. We have no cards in our hand to draw a card. Probably not going to happen too often, and we already have a Velvet Choker, so probably we don't get too much benefit out of that. This Combust is going to be really good here. We are going to get Trounce, though. Didn't draw any cards that make block. Yeah. See, even if we did have energy, we couldn't play this because we are choked. And takes no damage, lose some stacks there, but we have our Combust up, so this we need to deal 6 to this guy. $12, $15. We'll set up our 5. That rear enemy is very pretty frustrating. It can apply a debuff to you. That means you can only play. You can't play attacks in a turn, or you can't play skills. One of the two. Feeding time, yes. Ah, Valshara, that's a really good one to get as well. Start each combat with 1 strength. Metallicize goes really well with our plated armor. So, I think we want to actually remove a strike from our deck because our deck's getting pretty imbalanced. We've been taking a lot of attacks. Can start chipping away at those artifact charges. So this boss summons minions. These minions steal cards from your deck, so you can't play them until you kill these minions. So we're getting, oh my gosh, we're getting 9 armor at the end of this turn. I think we'll just feed now to get out of our deck. You don't gain extra health off of killing minions. The minions are cute, don't you agree? They are pretty cute, right? I don't think they've updated the animations on them yet, though. Which is pretty cool. Like, the minions are definitely more like... I like the minions more than I like this headless horseman armor boss with his talon feet. Could I combust up? No, how do we not? Where's that combust? Oh, one of them stole it? Rampage and combust. So let's kill this and get our combust up. It's super frustrating that they stole our... Let's get an attack. Nice. Super frustrating they stole our rampage. That was our main line to victory. We get to play it now though. Don't get to play it twice though. Oh, that's a big hit. Not a lot we can do about it though. So that attack was called Hyper Beam, just as you would expect. Next turn they can't do anything. So we have 8. Unfortunately, we take a hit, but we did shuffle our rampage back into our deck. So the Harashi blows, dealing 39 damage. Sweet. So picking up that rampage was really important because it gave us a fantastic late game option. Double tap. Double tap Clothesline, double tap Iron Wave. This is actually a really good. Alright, next boss relic. Runic Cube, whenever you lose HP, draw one card, which is great with Combust. Runic Dome, you get an additional energy, but you can no longer see enemy intents, so you don't know if they're going to attack or block, or do a debuff, which is good in some strategies where you don't care what the enemy is doing because you're going to do the same thing either way. Like if you were going to gain a bunch of block and body slam. Sozu. Extra energy, but you can no longer obtain potions. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of diminishing returns with the extra energy because of the Velvet Choker. So let's go with the Runic Cube and see if we can't pick up some more... I was going to say some more combusts, but then I saw the boss. It's the bird boss. The bird boss gets... it punishes you for playing a bunch of powers. We have 3 in our deck, which is fine, but I was hoping to pick up like a Rupture or something. Is kind of put a dent in that plan. 2 either way. So what's our path of... is this it? We want to hit a shop, preferably late. So like there's a late shop here. There's a streak of question marks, which could be a shop as well. The boldest move is to go up here, hit this boss, heal, then hit these two. They hit these 2 elites in a row. But I don't think we can be that bold. I think we'll go to the early shop and kind of use that to hopefully inform our choices. These enemies are pretty interesting. So they have a lifelink. So after one of them dies, if there are other ones of itself, the Darklings, alive, they revive. at 50% health. So you gotta try and kill them all at once. Damn. Unfortunate. 5. Super awkward draw there. So just killing that one early to make things a little bit easier for us the next couple of turns. Oh, interesting. The runic cube, because the combust triggers at the end of our turn, we actually discard the card we draw. And last time they checked, unless they patched it, double tap on Rampage doesn't work the way that you think. Double tap kind of creates an additional copy of that card, so you'll still get the extra damage, but it won't double it won't double the additional damage. Got him. Don't need those. Alright, what goodies have we got? Ooh, the Mummified Hand. This one's really good. Drop an additional card. Return a curse. Ooh, this is new. At the start of each turn, add a random colorless card to your hand. At the start of each turn. So it's going to make our deck a lot bigger over time. This Mummified Hand is really good with our 1-cost powers. It's going to allow us to deploy those and play attacks in the same turn. Let's go with that, and let's remove. How many attacks do we have? 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 4. But we only ever really want to play Rampage, so. Now do we do these? No, let's go this way. Sweet. So, we make an offering to these spirits and they give us a reward. I'm actually not 100% sure on the reward, but if you, at the very least, it just removes a card from your deck. So we can just, like, maybe we even remove this flex from our deck. Is unupgraded. No, we'll remove this last strike. Alright. Enlightenment is not very good. So this is the plus side of the Mummified Hand, is we can play our Combust. Now this costs 0. Play this. Now this costs 0. So we actually get like a real turn. Whereas usually, in that situation, we would have been forced to choose between like playing our powers or playing our attacks. Wow, this is pretty bad. So these burns are pretty bad. That's what this enemy does. It throws a bunch of burns into your deck. It's the plus side of this runic cube, is it does mean that we draw through our deck quite a lot faster. Alright, so we can fight these bad boys. We get a relic, or we can just bypass it. I think we should fight because we're about to hit a rest point anyway. So, worst case scenario, we can... do you want to upgrade this double tap? Interesting. We got to pay attention to the Velvet Choker when we double tap. Just don't draw Rampage. Okay. This enemy explodes. So it's going to deal 30 damage. So let's not get hit for 30. I think it's a good game plan. Let's be conservative. Don't take any damage, we don't need to. Got him. Heal 2 HP whenever we play a power. Do we want another pommel strike? Sure. So I definitely want to upgrade this double tap. So these enemies come in kind of different combinations of fights, but there's one who has thorns and buffs itself to give itself more and more thorns. And then you got 2 disruptors or repulsors, which are the ones that shuffle dazes into our deck. Nine, 20. This is going to die to our combust. Can pommel strike feed? Oof. At the very least, we're not taking damage. We kind of don't want to attack, because attacking means damage, and, you know, we can just really just do nothing. Ooh, armaments. An upgraded one too. Yeah, I like this card. So this gains 5 block, which is not a lot. It's actually the same as a basic defend, but it upgrades all the cards in our hand for the rest of that combat. So it's actually pretty good with our relatively unupgraded deck. Can remove this flex from our deck now. I think we'll do that. I think the +2 is not good enough, unfortunately. Ooh, lucky. What do we got? This card's pretty cool. When you look at your draw pile, you can see the order that they're in. That's an interesting bit of game design. Bag of Marbles applies 1 vulnerable to all enemies at the start of the first turn. Can we just remove a card from our deck? Could remove like one of these basic defense. Or even the feed. Well, the feed will remove itself, right? Or we can take Secret Weapon. So it tutors our deck for an attack, adds it to our hand, so we can use it to go get our Rampage. And if we upgrade this, which now we can with our armaments, we don't have to worry about doing it. Then it doesn't exhaust itself. Doesn't play well with our Velvet Choker though. Like, we really want to prioritize kind of card quality of play. So I think we'll just remove a card, and I think we'll remove. If we remove a defend, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive cards, and like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll get rid of defend. That's really expensive removal. This combat's pretty tough. I might actually have to use some potions. I'll start with Sweet, that actually worked out really well. That we both got to get our Rampage ticking up, we got our Combust, and we didn't take any damage. Fortunately, we are taking damage this turn, and now we have a lot of burns in our deck. A lot of burns. We might be able to kill this turn though. See if we can draw the double tap. No. We have our Flame Breath, so this will kill. Oh, extra action too. Ah, that sucks. So you can pommel strike, armaments, upgrades the feed so it deals more damage. We can weaken this so at least we're taking less damage, but it's still gonna hurt. Ah, he died to the thorns damage. Every 10th attack replay deals double damage. Ooh, limit break. I think we can actually do this because we have a starting strength and ways to gain strength with the shuriken, and if we upgrade this with an armaments, it no longer exhausts itself. Ah, Commissaire Rodo, thanks for the follow. What the fuck is this, says Galvatron? This is Slay the Spire. It's a deck building game that you can pick up on GOG and Steam. It's actually, it's incredibly fun. Incredibly fun. If you like deck builders, if you like board games, it's definitely up your alley, I would say. It looks fun. Yeah, it is really fun. It's currently in what's the word? Not beta. Early access. But they like patch it every week. There's even a daily challenge, and it's incredibly fun. I always find myself coming back and doing the daily challenges. It's free if you steal it. Generally, that's how thievery works. Yeah. So let's see if they fix this. Oh, okay. So it is they've fixed the interaction between double tap and rampage. It used to work very clunkily. But yeah, I was playing some Hearthstone before, but unfortunately, seems like everyone has kind of put their deck building. Like stop making putting effort into building decks, at least until the next patch comes out. Paladin Stone, yeah, like totally understand how you can feel that way. A lot of people would also call it Warlock Stone. Even less would call it Druid Stone. So do we want to weaken it, or do we want to double our strength? Let's weaken it. Our next turn's looking very aggressive, so we want to try and mitigate as much damage as possible. 21. This is gonna hurt a little bit. We didn't, so we're gonna draw a rampage this turn, which is good, and we have our double tap, so we can kill him. I'd love to add these to our deck, but I think we're, I think they might get us killed by the bird. No, I want these other metallicize. Okay, so falling. As you head upwards, hopping from one floating shape to another, you slip, you begin to fall. So we can lose one of these cards. I think I'll actually lose this fire breathing. I don't want too many powers. And we've got other powerful things to do. So this is a new enemy. You can see it doesn't really have any animations. Alright. And we can't play this. So this guy, I believe, summons minions. Yeah, you have a bunch of them too. And his minions deal a boatload of damage. So the combust will kill this. Oh, we had the pen nib up. Oh no, now it's up. Oh, we still had the double tap, of course. Now the pen nib is up. Shutterwalk for life. Yeah, I actually haven't played any Shutterwalk decks yet. Though I'm kind of keen to, especially after the patch. I think Shaman and Warrior will benefit quite a lot from the patches. We could have fed on that guy instead. Yeah, Shaman and Warrior, particularly. Alright, so we have full health, and we're just about to go into the final boss. So we get one last chance to potentially upgrade a card, which we don't really want to do because we have this Armaments. We could remove a card from our deck. Or we could take another shot at getting a useful relic, which we may as well. Strawberry, sweet. Plus 7 max HP. Okie dokie. So this is the Birdo boss. Has two phases. First, both of them have like 300 health. This one has Curiosity, so whenever we play a power, it gains 1 strength, so it's going to deal 1 more damage, and it regenerates 10 health every turn. So we want to kill these ads first before we go after the boss. This is a pretty bad start. We're gonna lose one of our plated armor right off the bat. Oh, we have our pen nib up? Okay, sweet. So this is this only needs 1 more damage before it dies. This needs 7. So we can deal 7 here. This is going to gain us 4 block, but I don't want to give this thing +1 strength on a turn when it's attacking 4 times. Ruffy. Depends how you want to play. Shaman goes infinite fast and more reliably, but Warrior has more value. Yeah, I think one of the issues with Warrior is that it can compete on board, but its late game is just worse than... its late game comes out at the same pace as other control decks, so like Mage or Warlock, but it's worse. Like the late game of like your Death Knight and the Lich King and Grom is just not as good as like Frostless Jaina or Gul'dan and Void Lords and stuff like that. But I think, and also, whilst you do compete on board, you still get donked by, like, Call to Arms is still an extremely good card. Like, making Paladin worse means that other decks can better compete with Paladin on board for the first 5 or 6 turns. And I think that's a good thing. And the fact that a lot of the, like, all the Spiteful decks are a turn slower and the Warlock decks are a little bit slower as well, means that you get another turn of having the board and having your minions out, and being able to do more things with them. So you might actually be able to transition into your late game a bit better. That's how I'm kind of thinking about it. So disappointed I didn't do the math on that thing. Name the card with this sound. Who am I? None of your business. Is your good friend and mine, Mysterious Challenger. I win? Oh, thank you. Doesn't the Bell Ringer guy, Bell Ringer Sentry, have a really similar soundbite? Like it's not subtle at all. Let me check. Bell Ringer Sentry sound.
Close the gates!
No. Yeah, no, it's I'm pretty sure it does. It's like its attack sound. Sweet. Alright, so now it's the final form. It just deals a lot of damage. Retains its strength buff as well. So we can double tap. Iron Wave. Rampage. We'll Pommel Strike to dig a little deeper into our deck. So next turn, we got 2 shots at hitting our Rampage again. 3 even because of the... And we got there. Hooray! All right, that was a lot. That was a while. But I do love playing this game. The thump, the thump, the thump. A deep pulsing dread can be felt throughout the room. Is this the heart of the Spire? The source of this evil? You ready your blade. You deal 700 damage. That's your score, essentially. The heart squirms and bleeds, but is ultimately still pounding. Are your mightiest attacks not enough? You ask yourself, have I been here before? You feel that you have dealt a total of 30,000 damage to the heart. A total of 7 billion damage has been dealt by all who have challenged it. The heart pulses louder and louder as your consciousness fades. So this is that's legitimately how much damage has been dealt by all players. This is how much damage I've dealt on this account, I think, total. And then victory, you die. And it gives you your score. A score of 700, that's actually alright. I think that's pretty good. Definitely had some low 400 games, but also some 1,000+ games. And then we get the credits. So yeah, that was Slay the Spire. It's one of my favorite downtime games. I love booting up a run and just seeing what I get, trying some different combinations. They recently added the 3rd character, which is totally bonkers. It's totally different to the other 2, which I really appreciate. And yeah, every run feels different, and I'll actually show you. So they have this daily climb thing, which is kind of like if you've played a mutation mode game. Let me get out of the way. So you get it's only for 24 hours. There's a high score thing. Gives you a character. This is the silent, and it gives you a bunch of modifiers. So this one is diverse. Cards are not restricted by your character, so you can get cards from other classes, which is real weird. Midas, enemies drop 200% more gold, but you can't upgrade cards at rest sites. Night Terrors, resting at rest sites heals 100% of your HP, but costs 5 max HP. This is a really cool combination because it means you're forced. All you can do at rest sites is rest, but you're going to lose max health by doing so. So that's actually really cool. And it's only there for 24 hours, so I think a lot of people kind of compete to get the best score. And yeah, that's the game. So I'm gonna chop off this recording here. I've been recording just to chuck that up on YouTube. But yeah, let me know if you've checked out Slay the Spire, what you like, or let me know if you do check it out after watching this video, because I think it's really good. I think it might appeal to a lot of y'all. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.